Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SA Accounting Academy. Here's a short clip on one of our previous webinars. I hope that you really do enjoy it.
So far. So if that is the case, let's make it a bit collaborative. Feel free to pop some messages in the chat, to ask me questions as we go, or to ask me to explain things or dig a bit deeper into them. This is a webinar on creating a culture of lifelong learning in your organization. Not to worry, I'm not going to take up the full 2 hours. I'm going to try to pack everything that I have learned, all the resources I found to be most useful, and a whole bunch of really cool things that actually, in preparing for this webinar, I got quite excited about. So yeah, a lot of really useful, practical content. But I would far prefer this be a discussion or something a little more engaging. If you guys are keen to, yeah, just pop your questions in the chat or to, share your thoughts as we go through. That said, I'm just going to give it one more sec. I must tell you that here in PE, or Gqeberha, as it is now known, where I'm based, there was some damage to a power station. So on top of the load shedding, we also have a load reduction schedule, which is allowing for 2-hour time slots of electricity. So funnily enough, the 2-hour time slot that this particular area in Humud has been given is exactly the same as the webinar from 10 to 12. So I'm very pleased about that, and was just waiting for the electricity to switch on before I could join this webinar. So that's why we're starting just a couple minutes late. That said, let's dive in. I've got a good couple of slides to get through here, but let's start with a quick introduction. My name is Josh Alexander, or Joshua Alexander. Everyone calls me Josh. I am a university dropout turned company secretary on a mission to automate the legal requirements. You can read the blurb, but basically I finished school, took a gap year, did a couple of years of studying, all the while trying to start a startup, some sort of technology company that I could grow and deliver to the masses. As I learned very young, there are two types of business models. Fundamentally, there is the premium product, like the Apple business model, where you build the best product and charge whatever price you like for it. And then there is the Coca-Cola model, where you create a product that everyone loves and you try to get it to as many people as possible. The Coca-Cola model is what technology and software allows us to tap into a lot easier. So that has been my my mission, to build to build and scale a successful startup. And in that sense, we often refer to Infodocs as the zero of company secretarial, the zero being the accounting software that everyone loves and uses. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Today we're going to be going through a whole bunch of slides around creating a culture of lifelong learning, which I have broken down into just 5 short modules. An introduction, where I'll just start with a bit of what, how, and why we're bothering to discuss this topic. Module 2 are some concepts that I'd like to introduce you to. Very useful. Morning, Gloria. I recognize your name, of course. You're a bit of a regular on our webinars, I believe. Welcome, as I said to the other attendees. We're a very small bunch today, so please feel free to add your thoughts and your comments to the chat as we go. I am just outlining the table of contents here, the various modules I'm going to take you through. But in short, we're going to try and keep it short and sweet, and just get through as many kind of practical insights, tools, and resources that I have to share with you guys here today. So as I was saying, in module 2, we'll discuss some concepts that I think might help in influencing your thinking. None of these concepts are mine. I am, if anything, just a DJ, as I like to think of myself. I am merely curating all of the knowledge and insights, wisdom, that I have devoured from the World Wide Web, from everything from audiobooks to podcasts to to news articles and lots of different resources. So some concepts in there in module 2. In module 3, there are some exercises also that I've picked up in my short time in the business world. Some exercises in there that, as a remote team, InfoDocs is a primarily remote team. These are some exercises that we use to, to just spark some of that office-based camaraderie, some of the natural kind of social interactions, and ultimately the goal with those exercises is actually just to get to know one another, but also to kind of to steer those conversations in a productive direction, to create what I'll introduce later is known as psychological safety. All of these are just things to foster a more cohesive, more collaborative, more creative, more innovative team dynamic between you and your team and your colleagues. So some really cool exercises in there that I'm keen to cover. Module 4, we'll take a look at some of the tools. There are a whole bunch out there, and googling what to use usually ends you up on a clickbait article with a list of 20 different things that you have to then go and try. So in module 4, we'll cover some of my personal recommendations, some tools that I've found to be really useful. And in module 5, some resources, some specific pieces of content, books, talks, whatever it may be, that I think may be of use to you. Okay, so let's dive in. The quote that I just want to begin with today is one from our very own Nelson Mandela. This quote is actually stuck up on my dad's wall in his office. And so it's a really a powerful quote in my life, at least. And just the other day, it was used by none other than Al Gore, who has done it again and given a really impassioned TED Talk this time. So I think the first speech that Al Gore did to do with climate change was, what was it called? It was called An Inconvenient Truth. Brilliant, brilliant name. And that was I remember that being a very long kind of documentary that I struggled to sit through in high school. But he's recently done a 15-minute TED Talk where he powers through so many different stats, examples, use cases, studies. I mean, really just like hammers the data in a very, very coherent and eloquent speech. And by the end of it, he's so impassioned. You can see the sweat dripping down his forehead, and the stuff that he's talking about is like dear to his heart. You can see him kind of get angry about the reality that we find ourselves in terms of climate change, and he uses this quote as as a rallying call to say it always seems impossible until it's done. So I just thought that was very cool to hear none other than Al Gore use this quote from Mandela. That said, let's dive into module 1, our introduction. And in here, I just want to discuss the one topic: culture, learning, and diversity. Why, right? And the learning outcome here is to understand the importance of a culture of learning. So just to answer that obvious question, why is this worth talking about? And what is it that what are the benefits of fostering these types of things? So here it is unpacked a little further. What is culture? What is a learning mindset? and how does diversity benefit us? So to start with culture, for me, everything I've learned thus far about culture, especially in an organizational setting, has to do with.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. For more of our webinar videos, go to www.accountingacademy.co.za. Thank you and have a lovely day.